You won't believe this. My own team forced me to carry heavy boards and climb 65 floors just to fill a gap in their schedule. As I heaved every step, I thought, they don't even realize who I am. Because here's what they forgot. I own the building. They treated me like I was the lowest level employee. And that moment flipped something inside me. I discovered something about respect, power, leadership, and finally, about owning your worth. Over the next story, I'll walk you from the very basics, how people underestimate you, to the advanced moves, how you take charge even when they strip you of power. Stick close. This is the moment I stopped being small in their eyes and made them see what I was really capable of. When I first got that order to go fill the gap, I didn't argue. I grabbed the boards, I climbed. Floor after floor I went. I sweated, I carried weight. I listened to jokes, to whispers, to subtle "why is she doing that?" And every one of those steps felt heavy, but not because the boards were heavy. Heavy because of what it represented. They saw me as someone beneath them. They saw a role, not a human. Basic thing. People judge you by the role you occupy, not by what you know. If you are a junior, you get tasks juniors do, even if you are senior. If you are owner, but still treated as servant, something's broken. And I understood that before I ever reached that 65th floor. It's a lesson about expectations. Yours, theirs, and what they project onto you. As I climbed, something inside me awakened. I asked myself, why am I doing this? Why do I let them treat me this way? That's when I realized I never made them know who I really am. I never showed them I built this place. I never taught them that leadership, ownership, authority is more than a title. So I stopped believing their story about me. I stopped thinking I had to earn respect by doing their tasks. Because respect is earned by how you carry yourself, by making them aware of the boundaries. That gap they asked me to fill, it wasn't just in staffing. It was in understanding that I deserve dignity, that I deserve recognition. Then came small changes. I started speaking when I was asked to climb again. I said no when something was beneath my value. I made sure people knew who I was, not just by what I owned, but by what I had built, what I had done. I walked into meetings and didn't shrink. I stopped apologizing unnecessarily. I adjusted my posture, my tone, made them listen. When they asked something ridiculous, I asked back a reasonable question. Those small changes shift how people see you. They start to hesitate before giving you a menial task. They start to think, maybe she's not just one of us. Maybe she's above that. Now, understand something. Change takes time. I didn't flip from servant to queen overnight. Every floor I climbed, every reaction I withheld, every smile I held back, it mattered. Sometimes I doubted. Am I being too sensitive? Am I making a mountain out of a molehill? But every time I saw someone else doing what I used to do, I saw a mirror, and I remembered. If I had claimed it earlier, I could have prevented this. That awareness, that refusal to take the low role again, builds strength. Resilience grows in those stages of being overlooked, being used, being walked over. At the end of this journey, I faced pushback. Some on my team mocked me for acting too proud or forgetting my place. A few clients asked, why isn't she doing the basics like others? Somebody said I was being difficult. That's always what people say when you refuse being small. They call you difficult, ambitious, hard to work with. But I realized those are words used by people comfortable with the status quo who don't want you to change it. Basic truth. When you draw a boundary, some will resent it. When you raise standards, others will feel threatened. But that discomfort belongs to them, not you. So I stepped up the game. I stopped doing tasks that undermined me. I delegated the small jobs. I made sure my team understood roles and responsibilities clearly. I forced conversations. Why is it that I do this task? I made rules, boundaries. I showed my value not by the work I did on the 65th floor, but by the choices I made after. I asked, who in this building is doing what I shouldn't have done? I restructured. I showed that ownership is not passive. It requires action. It asks for integrity. It demands that you define what is acceptable and what is not. Then came respect. It came slowly. People stopped asking me to climb. They started knocking on my door. They started listening when I spoke. They reallocated responsibilities. One meeting in particular, when I showed up not with boards but with plans, data, vision, they gasped. They saw I owned not just the building, but the future of it. That moment I knew I had turned that 65-floor climb into a ladder. Every heavy step became a rung. Every doubt became fuel. And finally, I was standing above them, not because I won a race, but because I refused to be beneath them. Owning the building is more than legal ownership. It's owning your power, owning your story, owning your boundaries. It's not doing menial tasks out of fear or habit. It's not shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. When people say, fill the gap, ask, whose gap? If that gap is making someone else's work lighter at your expense, you fill it, but on your terms. If it is pulling you down, leave it. Because every gap you fill should raise you, not lower you. What I learned finally, respect is not given by others, it is taken. By your self-respect. By refusing unfair treatment. By being consistent in your standards. By making your value known. By acting like you own the space, even if they've forgotten you do. And when they see it, they begin to treat you like you're already there. That's the advanced move, to act from a place of already owning. To walk tall when they expect you to bend. To fill gaps only when they align with your worth. When I stopped climbing the floors they asked and started building the floors I deserved, I truly owned the building. That if you feel like you're being asked to climb those 65 floors, haul those boards, do everything for everybody, pause. Ask, who owns the building here? Ask, who am I letting decide my worth? You have more power than you think. Because ownership starts inside. It starts when you stop carrying burdens that aren't yours alone. It starts when you live like you deserve the top floor, even if they make you walk the stairs. And when you do that, nobody can make you fill someone else's gap again.